Hello, everyone. I hope you are doing amazing. I'm super excited to be sharing this video about the upcoming full moon in Sagittarius at 20 degrees. And I know I have been missing some of those new moon and full moon videos, and I want to emphasize my energy on really important new moons and full moons. And this one is a very important one because I feel like new moons and full moon are sort of our like our clock on a daily basis for us humans to be receptive to the bigger outside influences of other planets. So every 2 weeks we have a new moon or a full moon. Every month we have a full moon. And this one is connected to the entry of Jupiter into the sign of Cancer. So this is a big, big deal. So that's going to be the event that is closer to us, to Earth, for us to really feel the energy of this big shift, because Jupiter is a lot farther away, as you know. So the energy of the full moon is triggering this huge shift in frequencies that we're going to witness and to feel. So I'm super excited for it. And also, this is a full moon in Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, as you know, is ruled by Jupiter. So it's all so connected. We're going to feel a surge of Jupiterian energy. And as you know, my business is called Maison Jupiter. So Jupiter is all about expansion of consciousness, spirituality, faith, opening up our horizons, choosing a new adventure, wisdom, all of that very beautiful stuff. So this is, I think, such a crazy and beautiful timing that we're having this energy right now, because I feel like we need it so much. We need some of those divine blessings to come our way. So I'm going to be sharing all about all you need to know that video. So let's start with the calendar that I made for 2025 so that you can have an overview of what's going on during the month of June. So on the 11th, this is when we're going to have this beautiful full moon in Sagittarius at 20 degrees exactly. So you can look up where a 20-degree fall in your own birth chart to know what house, what aspect of your life is going to be activated. For me, it's falling directly on my moon in Sagittarius. So I'm going to be fully activated. And I already feel the energy of that beautiful full moon. And I made a legend here. So if you'd like to download the calendar, I'll put the link down below to know, like, is this positive? Like, is this a more negative or let's say challenging aspect? And this one has a beautiful star. So I said here next to the legend, lucky breakthrough on the horizon. So this is why I'm so excited about this, the full moon. And at the same time, we're having a Mercury Venus sextile. So very beautiful. And not all full moons and new moons are positive. So just so you know, usually full moons are a lot more, let's say, emotional, tense, because we're having an opposition between the sun and the moon. But not this one. This one is going to be, well, of course, there's going to be a little bit of opposition, and we're going to talk about it during the video, because Jupiter is going to make a square that's going to be exact soon on the 15th with Saturn and Neptune. But although there might be some challenges involved, because we know, like, life is never just like positive stuff. It comes also with the more challenging stuff, as usual. I believe, like, if you watch this video and if you are fully committed to your soul growth, I believe you will have a very positive experience with that full moon. Okay, so let's start. I just want to show you visually what it looks like. Don't freak out if you don't understand every single thing. I just wanted to show you visually. So the moon will be opposite the sun because it's a full moon. So that's normal. It happens every month, as I said. And not full moon are equals. Not full moon will be felt with the same intensity. Of course, it also depends on what is really emphasized in your own birth chart. Let's say, for example, if you have lots of Sagittarius, lots of Gemini, then you're going to feel this a lot more than other people. If you have a planet or an important point near 20 degrees of Sag also, or 20 degrees of Gemini. But also you can look up 20 degree of Virgo and Pisces. This is where you're going to have the square aspect. And I just wanted to show you like how beautiful this is because of course the ruler of Sagittarius is the beautiful Jupiter. And Jupiter just at this point entered the sign of Cancer where it loves to be in. Cancer is a sign where Jupiter is exalted, aka gives it best results and blessing in that sign. So Jupiter will be there for about 1 year. So starting on June 9th until May of next year. So for about a year, we're going to have beautiful blessings there of Jupiter in Cancer. And I'm going to talk about that because it's so connected to that full moon. And as I said, oftentimes when there are big outer planet transits such as this one, we need closer transits to the earth to activate it and to really for us humans to really be feeling the shifts in frequencies and energies. And this full moon is playing that role of signaling for us, okay, there is a change in frequency, something comes to a close, full moon, and we are just about to embark on a brand new adventure. Jupiter at 0 degree, the degree of creation, of newness, of Cancer. And as I said, it's also making a square here. So we're going to talk about that with Saturn and Neptune. But the other thing I wanted to show you is that Jupiter is making more or less a T-square to the nodes. So again, signaling that this full moon is going to be pivotal for our soul growth, making potential decisions, having choices, especially in regards to what kind of experiences do we want to hop on next. Because Jupiter is a planet where we want to grow as a soul, not just on a 3D level. I feel like Jupiter is not so much connected to the 3D, but rather like the 5D, the consciousness level, the energetic level. So the full moon in Sagittarius, yes, is going to be, and yes, I talked about Jupiter, but let me just come back to my chart being a square, but also the full moon more exactly is T-squaring the nodes, and it's making a grand square with the sun, the moon, and the nodes. So even more emphasis there when I talk about this idea of making decision choices, especially for the future, because we're talking about Sagittarius, about what kind of path do we want to go on. So, and because it's a full moon, we are just about to close out some form of experience in our lives. We grew a lot with that particular experience. We learned a lot as a soul, and we gained a lot of wisdom through it. But now it's time to close something out, or it could be also just a chapter of an experience. And we're just about to open a new one with Jupiter being in a brand new sign. So, and it's making that grand cross in mutable signs, meaning that the soul, what it really wants in order to be able to grow constantly is change, is evolution. So this full moon is not about, let's say, sticking with what feels familiar. Rather, we're about to embark on a new adventure, a new experience that we might feel is a little bit out of our comfort zone, but it's okay because it's going to really nurture and feed what truly our soul needs and want, and which is to grow, to expand, to experiment. Yeah, I was mixing languages there. So yes, I said about choices, decision. Whenever we have like an important planet or a full moon making an aspect to the nodes talk about karma, past karma versus future karma. So we're leaving or we're closing some kind of an experience that deals with past karma in order to open up something new, which is going to push us towards our north node, towards our future, towards the next thing that our soul really wants to experience. So a lot of us also are going to be guided to different locations, maybe traveling, either short trip, long form of a trip. Uh, and to really experiment some stuff, or it can also be through information, through going on a new journey, learning something new, closing out one course and then beginning another. So that can also be what's happening in your life around this full moon. I think this full moon will have a bigger orb of influence than usual. Usually I would give it like a few days before and after on June 11th, but for this one, since it's correlating with Jupiter entering the sign of Cancer, I think we're going to feel it for almost all of June. I want to say like a week before, a week after. So I will give it like a bigger orb of influence. So as you're watching this video, we're already feeling this huge energy. And it's like I would say like a bittersweet, also some kind of energy, because in order to grow, we have to leave something behind, and it's part of the evolution process. So we might also be a bit nostalgic about some phase of an experience, and we're like, oh, that was cool, I love that. But then our soul is like, yeah, cool, but like now I want to experience something different, or I want to grow even more. So that's what this full moon is all about: listening to your soul, listening to signs. And it's a full moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is fully connected with our guides, with our higher self, with God, the universe, whatever you call it. This higher power that is guiding us, so that our soul is able to experience the fullness of the experience it wants to have in this lifetime. So we're going to get probably lots of synchronicities around this full moon. And it's going to be interesting to see and to receive all that you can receive, either through dreams, but also I would look at nature. Like, what kind of birds are you seeing? What kind of flowers are blooming in your surroundings? So really be attuned also to the messages. What kind of, let's say, if you hear a word that keeps repeating itself all of a sudden, or like a theme that comes back on your social media feed, or you hear friends talk about it, just be aware that around this full moon, there will be lots of synchronicities. The guides, your guides, are trying to talk to you. Your higher self is trying to reach you in order to bring something to your awareness. So with that said, like I talked about this bittersweet kind of energy, because change and transformation requires us to let something behind in order to, of course, experiment with something new. So while Jupiter enters Cancer, it also means that Jupiter leaves the sign of Gemini. And it was there for about a year, starting on May 25th of 2024. So beginning on May 25th till June 9th of this year, we had a 1-year phase of Jupiter experimenting with Gemini. And that energy was so drastically different from what we're about to experience with Cancer. So while Jupiter was in Gemini, we were all gathering lots of data. So the goal for the soul perspective was to input lots of new information, new perspectives, experiences. And Gemini is not the sign that wants to judge. It's not part of the archetype. Gemini just wants to be curious, wants to experiment with everything. It will be, let's say, challenged into bringing into its awareness different, also confronting perspectives on one subject, for example. So let's say before that, like, you were very sure about what your values were, what your boundaries were. Well, Jupiter in Gemini is sort of challenging that. It's like, well, you thought maybe you were very strict about, let's say, let's take a relationship, for example. Let's say you were very strict about your values in a relationship, what you're willing to allow, what you're not willing to allow. Like, you had very strong boundaries about what you want, what your values, what you're looking for in a partner. But now with that year about Jupiter and Gemini, it was like, oh, well, maybe I thought all that time I wanted this A, and now it's B. And now the universe is showing you like different facets and different perspectives of what wasn't on your radar before, but now you're like open to more of the gray zone in between the black and white of what you thought before was acceptable or not. So maybe during that year you've experimented with, let's say you met people that before you would have crossed off your list, or your list of options, but now you're like, oh, you're considering options that weren't on your radar before. So maybe you've went on dates, and I'm just giving this example so that you can visualize what I'm talking about, and I hope it helps. But let's say you went on dates with people and you're like, okay, that's not usually my type, and maybe we don't share the same values, but there's something there that opened up my mind about like this idea of maybe I need an artist after all. Maybe like I'm open to someone more creative, and I thought like I wanted someone very rational, for example. So that Jupiter in Gemini basically was there to open up our mind to different perspectives, to challenge maybe our how we were polarized, and maybe we had blinders of regarding certain topics in our life. Maybe we were very strict on certain things, and Jupiter in Gemini is like opening up and removing the boundaries and removing um the polarities that we thought like this is right, this is wrong, this is acceptable, this is not acceptable. And then Jupiter in Gemini was just like opening up all the variety of options, and then you're like, oh, there's a gray zone in between, and maybe like it's not all black and white. So we were exploring, we were gathering data, experimenting with different ideas, different perspectives, and staying open-minded and curious. So that's one of the benefits of Jupiter and Gemini, although Jupiter doesn't feel very comfortable in the sign of Gemini because it rules the opposite sign of Sagittarius. But it's also, it made us rethink like the idea of what's right, what's wrong. Like we had a different perspective maybe on the values, on what we feel, let's say, is part of the light, the dark side, and maybe we had more an opening as the dark side serves the light, so therefore there's no evil in that world. Like you get the idea. But also we were questioning our boundaries, and sometimes we might also have embarked in a situation that weren't fully aligned with our values, and that's okay. Like you don't need to judge yourself, because Jupiter and Gemini serve the purpose of showing us different perspectives and not being so attached to a sense of strong morality of black and white, of seeing things as very polarized, right, wrong, good, bad, um, acceptable, non-acceptable, as you understand. So it's like we were testing our limits and what we're willing to allow in our field, what we're not willing to allow. And now with this big experimentation phase ending and Jupiter entering a different sign, now it's kind of time to get back to ourselves. We're getting back to our core values. We're getting back to our true boundaries, to honor ourselves. Cancer is the protection. It's the sign of the inner self, of your foundation in life. But you're not able to do that if you didn't experiment before and test a little bit of how far you're willing to expand and open up to new perspectives, right? So now that everybody has gone through this experimentation phase of 1 year, now we have a better understanding of who we are outside of the conditioning, the programming of society, of the family, all that stuff. So it's really the time to come back home, to come back to your true self. So it's such like a big transit, in my opinion. I feel very, very positive and optimistic about this one. And I feel like it's going to be valuable more on, let's say, on a psychological side rather than a material. So if you are able to really tap in all the benefits of coming back home, what it means for you, coming back to your true self, realigning with what's really important for you, I think you're going to really be able to receive all the beautiful blessings of that transit. Um, okay, so I made a slide, so let's go into the slide to make sure I don't forget anything I want to say because I love this full moon. So I call this one choosing your next adventure because I believe this is what is going to happen. And since it sits between the north node and the south node, yes, it is at midpoint between the past and the future. So it's a very important crossroad in time to really be integrating the past experiences and being like, what does my soul want to experience next? So we are closing a certain part or a definite experience to start a new one at this point. And just keep in mind that this is so connected to our soul's purpose and what our soul wants to experience in that life. So our soul wants to grow, want to expand, and our consciousness also wants to expand. So it's really, really important to take into consideration with what your next chapter is, to really take this into consideration. What does your soul want? So take the time to really sit with yourself, maybe in meditation, in silence, and you really feel connected to your heart, to your higher self, and ask yourself, what does my soul want to experience? And then I feel like you're going to be having like such a beautiful year ahead if you take the time to do that. So Cancer is all about the sense of nurturing. So here we're going to nurture our soul starting around this full moon through constant growth and exploration, because that's what the soul wants to do here in this 3D life. So it's going to be about choices, decision, yes, important decisions that will likely impact the future, because Sagittarius is very much connected with the idea of the future. And also, one thing that I think will be very, very pivotal is taking the time to integrate new experiences and the lessons that come from them from the universe. So we might feel like around this full moon, we need to take some time because it's going to be ushering like such a huge transformation inside all of us. And we know that when such things happen, they require energy. So we might sit a little bit more in meditation than usual. And if you do feel the need, please allow yourself the time and the space to do so, because it's going to be very, very important for your future. Also, this transit and that Jupiter in Cancer transit that's starting around this full moon will bring blessings and results from the past, because Cancer is connected with the past. It's connected with our temple, our home, our family, our inner life. So Jupiter will bring blessings there, especially if we are in alignment with our mission, with our higher self. And also can bring blessings and expansion to our family, our home, our personal life. It will add a lot of richness. I'm not saying necessarily material, it could be for some of us, but I'm thinking a lot more in terms of feeling that richness of being able to fully enjoy life, to be able to feel safe, to feel abundant, to feel very content and happy with the life that we've created for ourselves and our family. And a lot of us will feel a little bit more social because Jupiter is a very social planet. Cancer is all about like our very close ones. So we're going to want to nurture true connections that feel like family. Soul family also can expand at this time. And with the square that we're going to experience, Jupiter squaring with Saturn and Neptune, it's really about taking accountability for your life and your life direction and taking your responsibilities. So it's not just about dreaming, it's not just about manifesting, yes, 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 but at the same time, it's about understanding that we're not a victim in life, right? Like we have co-creation abilities in tandem with the universe, with God, with our guides, with our higher self. We are able to, with our free will, the part of free will that we have at least, we are able to choose the experiences and to make decisions, especially in regards to consciousness and spirituality and our reaction also to whatever's happening outside. So it's really important that we take accountability and we do not, um, let's say, push the blame on our outside world and outside people for whatever is going on in our lives. Like, let's take back our power and take our responsibilities. So it's going to be like a big month for taking our responsibilities, especially regarding like the quality of experiences that show up in our life. And lastly, I wrote coming back to the self, the true self. So this is why I think like this full moon requires a little bit more introspection than usual. And Jupiter is all about getting all that beautiful wisdom that is available to us, connecting with our guides, connecting to our higher self, to God. And we will get a lot of answers, synchronicities, messages if we take the time to connect and if we are open, of course, to receiving those answers. Yeah, let me check if I said everything that I wanted to. I think I did. And the one thing that I want to share with you is the card that I pulled. And I love that card. So it's from the Rose deck, and it talks about how we're blooming. And when we're blooming, we're attracting all the abundance, all the beautiful experiences that we want to attract in our life. And it says, come to me, attracting like a rose, receive abundance desires. So, and it says in the booklet something like roses are blooming and are expressing their full beauty, regardless of who passes by, regardless of the outside circumstances. They are blooming. And I feel like this is a beautiful analogy to the soul. The soul wants to reach its higher timeline possible, its blooming phase of experimenting beautiful things on earth. And regardless of what happens, regardless of the reaction, regardless of what's coming back to us, and that fullness results in attracting a lot more of the positive stuff that we want, the financial abundance, the beautiful balanced relationships, the beautiful opportunities that life can offer us. So attracting like a rose is connected to this beautiful full moon in Sagittarius. So, and to be able to attract all the goodness and the blessings of Jupiter, we only need to, well, only, this is not as simple as it seems, I know, but we need only to follow our soul and our heart and to really ask ourselves, like, what do we want to experience? And to stop thinking about the limitation and just be like connected here and ask your heart and your soul, like, what's your next adventure? So 2 weeks later, after this full moon, we're going to have a new moon in Cancer conjunct Jupiter. So Jupiter will be again very much activated. And this full moon serves a role of, let's say, really taking the time to connect with yourself, to ask yourself question. It's really like a deep inside inner work that is being done around this full moon to be able to manifest new things around the next new moon in 2 weeks. So I hope this resonates. Let me know in the comments below. And if you'd like to get more information on your own birth chart, your own blueprint, and where full moon and new moon activate your own birth chart, you can order yours right now on the website on maisonjupiter.com. The link will be down below in the description box. So this is your own personalized birth chart available in the color of your choice. It is ideal for printing and framing. It makes a beautiful wall decoration. And as well, you can refer to it every time you have an astrology video like this one. So you can look at where the new moon, the full moon are activating in your own birth chart. And this comes with a 15 to 20 pages report. This is all a digital product. So if you'd like to hop on the astrology journey with me and to learn more about your own blueprint, what you're here to do in this lifetime, this is the time to do so. And don't forget to enter Jupiter as your discount code to get 10% off your birth chart. Also, they make beautiful gifts. I know a lot of you have been ordering them to make very creative and unique gifts to your loved ones. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Have the most amazing full moon. And I hope that everybody listening to this video can truly find their connection to self and their next chapter of their life mission. Sending you much love.